Waiting may be a part of your story, but don't let it be your identity. Don't get stuck in the waiting room, in the cycle of the waiting room, putting your life on pause because life is not on pause. Life is moving and life is going. And I don't want you to miss what's happening around you. I don't want you to miss presence in your life. We live in a society that's always about next, 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 next. What about now?
Welcome to the Grace for the Growth podcast. I'm your host, Courtney Leo. The goal of this podcast is to encourage you on your own growth journey by empowering you to live your life with authenticity, freedom, and confidence. We will get real and raw as we dive into honest conversations about life, faith, business, relationships, dating, healing, and so much more. My goal is that you would walk away from our time together feeling a little less alone, a little less crazy, and a little more brave to be yourself. I hope you will find yourself more compassionate to past you, challenged as present you, and excited for future you. Embrace the story, welcome the messy of it all, sit in the unknown, and most importantly, live authentically. So pull up a chair in my virtual living room and let's dive into today's conversation.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Grace for the Growth. I'm so excited to chat with you today. If you're listening to this, we are in the middle of a wild trip, a wild vacation, and as I'm recording this, we are prepping to leave. So it's a little crazy and a little chaotic in our home, and it's been an absolute wild 2 weeks, but I'm getting very excited for vacation, a much, much, much needed vacation. So really looking forward to that and excited to spend a couple of moments with you today, just talking about something that's been on my heart. And it's something that I've talked about a little bit before, but haven't really revisited it in a while. That was a lot of words. And so I just wanted to share some thoughts today about waiting, about being in the waiting room. When I was in college, the term waiting was really, really prevalent in my life. And who knew what my life would turn into, experiencing prolonged singleness. But the term, like the thought of waiting was really prevalent, so much so that I was leading a performing arts ministry where we would write a custom production every year. And we titled it, What Are You Waiting For? The first year that I was leading it. And it was this concept that so many of us are in different waiting rooms in our lives, whether it's waiting for a spouse, whether it's waiting for a kid, whether it's waiting for a promotion, whether it's just waiting for hope or waiting for peace or waiting for restoration in relationships. Whatever you're waiting for, we're all in different waiting rooms. And the concept of this production back in college, a decade and a half ago, something like that, was that as we are all waiting for something different, the pain mixed with anticipation of waiting affects us all and impacts us all. And so it was just this common theme of what do we do in the waiting room? And where does God meet us in the waiting room? And again, like I said, who knew what my life would turn into and what we would, what my story would unfold. But I remember another thought that came up while I think it was like my third or fourth year of college. And I remember, I have to give you a little bit of backstory. I didn't have any desire or any reason to like plug into community, like my local community in my college town. I was like, as soon as I walk across that stage, I'm going to get my diploma and I'm going to leave. Spoiler alert, I did not, but I really was very temporary. And the other thing that God was speaking to me, and honestly, it was right around this time of this production, the What Are You Waiting Room production, which is really funny now that I think about it. But the thing that God spoke to me is Why are you treating this season like a temporary pit stop when this season is a season? What he was telling me is, I don't want you to just bypass this season that you're in college as just like, oh, I'm just here in the community, whatever, like just to go to school and then I'm leaving. Like, no, this is a significant season, a significant part of your life. What what would it look like for you actually to treat this as a season, not a pass through season? And I've been reflecting on this a lot as I actually get to go visit my college town as part of this trip. And I was just reflecting on these two things about waiting and how often in our lives it's really easy to feel like we're the only one waiting, when in reality, so many people that we're around have their own versions of waiting that they're experiencing and their own pain of waiting. And then two, how many of us are looking at our current season as a temporary pit stop or a temporary pass through, when in reality, it is a season? And what would it look like if we allowed ourselves to embrace the season and we looked around and we allowed ourselves to look at the other people who are also experiencing their own seasons of waiting? What would that do to our hearts? What would that do to community? How would that change how we operate? And so this is kind of where I want our conversation to be today and where I want to chat with you today. I've got some notes, of course. Um, just what does waiting look like, and how can we reframe what the in between looks like? I don't know about you, but I don't like transition. I feel like the last 18 months of my life have been nothing but transition, and I am exhausted. I'm so exhausted, and it's not stopping anytime soon. It is just the consistency of change is really the only consistency. And it's really easy to feel like when we're in these seasons of not yet, when we're in these seasons of the in between, that it feels like delay or it feels like failure or it feels like you've been forgotten. And I just want to give you some thoughts to help you reframe this a little bit, some things that I've learned over the years, not just with singleness, but also with career changes, with things with health stuff, with just so many different seasons of my life that I've already experienced. Um, and even those seasons that feel like, okay, what's the point of this? What's the point of this? Why am I going through this? This feels complicated. This feels overwhelming. I'm exhausted, like whatever. Like, what's the point of waiting here? So let's talk about waiting a little bit. What does the waiting room look like? What does the waiting room look like? Waiting rooms could be, I mean, I've listed a bunch, but that's the first thing I want you to think about is like what are the things that you feel like you're just sitting, you're twiddling your thumbs? I mean, we've all been there. We've all been in the doctor's office. We've all been in the DMV where we're just sitting there waiting. Where do you feel like you're just sitting there waiting for time to pass by? Maybe you're doom scrolling. Maybe you're playing a game on your phone. Back in the day, we were reading magazines or watching the TV in the lobby. Like, what are you doing when you're just waiting for something to pass by? What does your waiting room look like? How are you spending your time in your waiting room? Um, and the reason that I ask you is because I think what I've learned that is different than what I was experiencing in college years. See, in college years, I was like, hey, we're all in a waiting room. And now I'm in this season where like I don't know if we're walking through life healthily and we're walking towards progress if a waiting room exists. We may feel like it does. We may feel like we're there, but like there's actually an opportunity for your wait season to be a season, not a temporary holding space. So like if I could rewrite the show, I would. I would rewrite that show that was talking about all these people just in the waiting room waiting for these things to happen, and I would go back and I would say, "Hey, I hear you. I hear that you're in this waiting room. I hear you're in this season. What are you doing about it? What are you doing while you're here? Are you waiting for time to pass by? Are you twiddling your fingers? Are you scrolling on your phone? Are you trying to distract yourself? Are you trying to like do something that's unproductive? Are you actually going to move in the season? Because the reality is like you're not in a waiting room. You're in life. You're in a season of life, and you have the opportunity to live this day and the next day and the next day and the next day with every fiber of your being. And hear me out. I'm not trying to say that this is like action, 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 action. Like, I'm all about some rest. I'm all about waiting on God when necessary. But I feel like too often we find ourselves in this like pause. I see it a lot with singles of like, oh, like I'm not going to start that business. I mean, this was my story. Like, I'm not going to start that business until I get married and I have another income. Oh, I'm not going to like get that promotion until that person quits. Oh, I'm not going to like switch careers until I have to. Oh, I'm not going to move into the house because like this one's like fine. I mean, it's not what I need or what I want, but it's fine, right? Like there's just so many so many circumstances that have come up where I've just paused, and I got to the place probably about like 4 or 5 years ago where I was like, I'm done. I'm done with waiting rooms. What does life actually look like? My singleness 100% propelled that I'm not just going to sit around and twiddle my thumbs and wait for singleness to end. What does singleness actually allow me to do? What does singleness allow me to do? If you're single, this is a question that I asked in our community, or Authentic Life Activator community, when we were talking about like, it's very easy for us to look at what am I unable to do because I'm single, but what are you able to do because you're single? Like, what have you allowed yourself to do because you're single? I talk to so many singles all the time, and it's amazing to me how many, and this was me too, so I'm not hating on anybody, but like how many people put their life on pause, or they wait, or they don't go to the concert that they want. I mean, that's why like I started solo dates. It's because I wanted to do things and I didn't want to wait around for somebody else. Like I wanted to experience things. I wanted to go on trips. I wanted to like experience life in different ways, and I didn't want to have to put my life on pause just because my relationship status didn't include somebody else. So let's talk about some signs that you might be in a waiting room. Maybe you feel like you are holding out on experiences that you really want to do. Maybe you feel like you are postponing joy, that you're not allowing yourself to really live life to the absolute fullest. Maybe you feel like you are in this temporary holding pattern, and the real story of your life is happening in the someday. You don't know what to do with the not yet, but your life is happening in the someday. Today is not your life, but someday is your life. Maybe you find yourself constantly comparing yourself to other people. If you are in the perpetual cycle of waiting room versus living room, there, I just made that up on the spot. That was not in my notes. If you're in the waiting room versus actually living life out, you will find yourself consistently trying to compare your life to other people, comparing your life to people who already have what you desire. And then the other thing, and I see this a lot in the work I do with singles, is if you're in a waiting room, you may be trying to shrink. You may be trying to shrink here in the present because you don't want to mess up what the future could be. Ugh. This one hurts. This one hurts a lot, especially when talking with singles. Obviously, that's the work I do a lot, which is what I have a frame of reference of. And it's also a huge part of my story, but I know this applies to other seasons of waiting as well. But when we try to shrink the present, like make it so small, so not glamorous, so limited, so minimalistic, when we try to shrink our present day life because we're actually afraid that if we get too big now, we're going to mess up what could be. I was talking to somebody, a single in a session recently, and she was like, I just feel like I have this fear that if I love life too much now, if I make my life too good now, that I'm I'm going to miss what I really want, which is marriage, because I'm going to have too much fun living this single life. And she wasn't saying like, like partying and sleeping around or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying, but like just adventures and dreams. She's like, I'm just going to love my single life so much, even though I really, really, really desire marriage. And I'm afraid that I am not going to see a marriage opportunity when it comes in front of me because I'm going to have too much fun with singleness. And I suppose that could happen. It's not my story. It's not my experience. If you've heard my story, I got to the place where I just decided that I was done putting my life on pause, that I was done waiting around. I was done like not doing the things that I want to do. I made plans to move. I launched my own business. I was making plans to leave my 9 to 5. Was doing all these things. I actually got off dating apps. Like I quit dating. Like I very much was like, I just want to live this beautiful full life. And I feel like I'm living a half life because I have one foot in and one foot out. Like I have one foot in, like, let's live this really beautiful single life. And then I have another foot in, like, well, let's just kind of like stay put and like stay a little safe so that like, dating is always open and like dating is always an option and like Mr. So and so can always come. But like for me, I shifted into, okay, no, like I actually want to pursue my dreams and I want to do the things I want to do and I want to move where I want to move to and I want to build the dreams and all this kind of stuff and that's when like I coincidentally met my person and I know that's not everybody's story, but I just share that to say me saying I'm not going to just sit around and twiddle my thumbs and wait for Mr. Right to come. Um, Me actually going out and living my life didn't hinder me seeing when he did show up. Actually, it was a lot of fun because I was like, this is my life and this is what I love to do and this is who I am and this is where I'm going. And you want to come along? Like, you want to be a part of it? And I found a person who was like, I mean, yeah, like that sounds fun. That sounds great. And that sounds like where I was going and what I was doing. Um, and so it didn't stop me. It didn't stop me from finding my person. When we are in waiting rooms, when we're in perpetual waiting rooms, this cycle here of waiting, not moving, and feeling like our lives are on pause, there's a couple of things that the waiting room steals from us. First of all, it steals presence. It steals presence. Here's the thing, when you are in a waiting room, you are waiting for something that's coming in the future, which means what's happening in the present is less valuable to you. I'll say it again. When you're waiting for something in the future and that's your whole focus, then what the present is less valuable to you. So when you are so focused on the future, when the future has become an idol to you, whenever you're holding on to whatever that thing is, and hear me out, I'm not saying like lose hope, I'm not saying drop the dream, I'm not saying quit praying about it, that's not what I'm saying, but when it becomes your whole identity, you actually lose out on what's happening right in front of you. When I was like 25 or 26, I realized that the thought of being married one day had become an idol in my life, that and even though I wasn't married, marriage had become an idol. My lack of marriage became such a central focus point of everything about me. It was just such like a grounding anchor about me. It was what I thought about. My lack of marriage is what I thought about. It's how it motivated me. It's how I communicated with people. It's how I identified. Like it was just so loud in my head. It was so loud in my life and everybody knew it and I knew it. There was like no doubt, like there was nothing else to Courtney other than singleness. I everything was led through that lens. And it wasn't because I had a healthy view of my present singleness. It was actually because I wasn't talking about being single. I was actually really, really focused on how unmarried I was. There's a difference, right? And sometimes when we're in these waiting rooms, if we're too focused on the future, if we've created that future thing and it's become an idol in our life that everything focuses on, that everything filters through, we're actually going to miss out on the beauty of the present season that we're in right now, about the here and the now, about what God is trying to do right now, what He's trying to grow in us, what He's trying to teach us, what He's trying to prepare us. And hear me, I'm not trying to give you this like perfect, because I know waiting is so hard. I'm not trying to give you this like, just wait on God. He's doing stuff all the time. Like, I'm not trying to just like give you that sugar coat, but I'm saying like, if you're so focused on the future, you'll miss out on where we are today. You'll miss out on where we are today. You'll miss out on these moments today. The other thing that the waiting room can do is it can build resentment. It can build resentment. And oftentimes it's this like quiet, like it's like a sneaky snake, this resentment. It can be this resentment against yourself. It can be this resentment against God. It can be the resentment against others who either have what you want or feel ahead of you, or you're comparing yourself to, right? Just this resentment. And hear me, that resentment and bitterness is no fun to live in. No fun to live in at all. The other thing that the waiting room can steal from us is the opportunity to be obedient. To be obedient. Because I think that God is not absent in our waiting seasons. He's not absent in those seasons of the not yet. And so when He's asking us to do something, when He's asking us to launch that business, when He's asking us to sow here, or when He's asking us to do this in our community, and we're like, not yet, I gotta wait until this. I'm waiting until this. I'm waiting until this. Like, we actually miss out on the opportunity to obey God in His timing. We may miss out on something really, really beautiful. The other thing that the waiting room, I got one more. The other thing that the waiting room takes from us and drags us down is it totally skews and distorts our identity. I was in a coaching call. This is probably like a year or two ago with a single. And she was saying, Courtney, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to heal from. I don't know what to repent from. I don't know what to work on next. Like, I feel like I've done everything right. And I feel like God is punishing me. I don't know what to repent from in order to get to this next season, in order to get to marriage. If I did something different, or if I showed God something different, or if I apologized for something, like maybe I would be there by now. What can I repent for? What can I apologize for? What more can I do? And I was just like, ugh. It just breaks my heart, because the pain of the waiting season and of just sitting like, let me out, let me out, let me out. What else do I have to do, God? What else do I have to do in order to move out of this season? That means if that was how it was, then that means it's a transactional relationship with God. God, what do I need to do in order for you to get me out? And the fact that I'm not out must mean that I'm not enough, or I'm not doing enough, or something's wrong, or I'm not chosen, or I'm not picked. And all of a sudden we have this distorted transaction identity relationship with God. It's so messy, and it's so unkind to our hearts. It's so unkind to our souls when we have an identity that's what am I trying to say? We have an identity that's focused solely on what we are not or what we're not enough of. And it's really, really, really sad. So, what does it look like? And this is my question. What waiting room are you just sitting, twiddling your thumbs? And what is it stealing from you? What is the waiting room stealing from you or robbing you of the opportunity from? Here's the thing about when you're waiting. You are not just waiting, right? If you're single, we know that you are in a waiting season for marriage, but it's not just about waiting. It's about becoming. It's about who you are becoming. It's about who God is forming you to be. It's about the character that is being built in you. It's about what God is doing in the present day. It's not just about waiting and watching the time pass by. Like this moment, what are you doing now in this present day? What does it look like? Every day is precious. Every season is sacred. What would it look like if we lived between the lines, if we lived between the milestones, not just for the milestones, but we lived in between the milestones? Here's a thought. Here's a thought. Even Jesus, even Jesus didn't start his public ministry for 30 years. 30 years. And I don't know about you, but I don't think he was just sitting, twiddling his thumbs, wait until his 30th birthday. I know that's not how it was. I know it's the wedding, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure there was character being built. There were relationships being built. There was strengthening with God. There was lessons. There was participating in community and culture and his family and like just so many different things. Like those 30 years were not wasted. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if Jesus, like, I just want to give you the parallel. Like, so many of us are like waiting for like it to happen, right? Whatever your it is. Could you imagine if Jesus just like sat on his butt and twiddled his thumbs for 30 years and then like it was 3 years of ministry and like that was it? Like, oh my gosh, like his years of ministry, his years of the it is whatever we would call it, like was so short compared to the rest of his life. And how many of us are just like waiting for our it to come? And your it may come and it may not even be that long. I don't know whatever it is, but like or it may shift or it may change or it may not look what it look may not end up looking exactly like you thought. And like that's why I think like what are we doing in the present? What is being formed? What is being shaped? What is being like chiseled out, pruned out of you to make you more like Christ, to make you more into who he's called you to be, who he's created you to be, coming back to who you were created to be. If there's been a lot of hurt and pain on top of all of that, right? So we have to learn to live in the tension of the not yet, because it's here in this tension of not yet that is where character grows. That is where the stretching is. That is where purpose flows out of. In the tension of the not yet. So, here's what I want to encourage you with. Do some reflection. Do some reflection on if there is anything in your life that has become such an idol in your life, that has become a filter and a lens to which you see the rest of the world or a lot of the world, a lot of your world. And think about what you are waiting for, that that has kept you from, what that has stolen from you. And then I want you to practice to find presence. What are you going to do in the present day? What are you going to do here and now? Where can you practice joy in the ordinary days? Where can you find adventure? Where can you say, I'm actually going to live in the not yet? I'm actually going to live fully between the milestones. Where can you continue to live fully versus being on pause? Because here's the thing, my friend, your life is not on pause. You wake up and go to bed every single day. The clock goes around 24 hours a day. You may feel like your life is on pause, but it is not. The days are still going by. The nights and the days are still coming. Your life is not on pause, so stop acting like it. Stop acting like your life is on pause. And I'm not that for you, that might not be, oh my gosh, I've been holding back. Now let me go 100 miles an hour. For some of you, yeah, you need to get up off your butt and you need to go. And that's not the call for all of you. For others of you, it's, oh, I've been living my life on pause and I actually need to live. And it may not look like, oh my gosh, let's swing into action. It may just be like, hey, like let's just be present. Let's just live. For others of you, you got stuff to do that you've been holding out on, right? And maybe for others of you, it's a combination of both of it. So, where have you been living on pause? What have you been postponing? Where have you not been living fully? God can meet you in every season. He can meet you in the waiting rooms. He can meet you in the character forming seasons. He can meet you between the milestones. He does. He gives you breath in your lungs every single day. And if He gives you breath in your lungs, then today is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Let us celebrate this day. Let's celebrate this day that we have breath in our lungs, that we get to live another day. Waiting may be a part of your story, but don't let it be your identity. Don't get stuck in the waiting room, in the cycle of the waiting room, putting your life on pause, because life is not on pause. Life is moving and life is going. And I don't want you to miss what's happening around you. I don't want you to miss presence in your life. We live in a society that's always about next, 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 next. What about now? What are you doing now? You are not forgotten. When you start looking at present, you'll see that you are becoming. You'll see there is an opportunity to be formed, to be shaped. And so I invite you today to reclaim what has been a waiting room of just twiddling your thumbs and doom scrolling and waiting for next to happen, waiting for your name to be called, and decide to be present. Decide to have an adventure. Decide to go launch that dream. Decide to go build those relationships. Decide to dig deep into some growth and some healing. All those things that you have said, when this happens, then I'll do it. My invitation is just to get curious about it. What's keeping you? What's keeping you from stepping into it? And have you put your life on pause? And are you just doom scrolling? I love you so much. And I'm so grateful to share this with you. I have so many thoughts about this, continued thoughts about this. So I would love to chat with you. And I would love to hear what stands out to you. And if you are listening to this, I would love to read a message or a comment from you about what is the thing that you are going to step into. Where are you going to find joy in the ordinary? Where are you going to find presence this week? I cannot wait to chat with you. If you are watching us on YouTube, I would love if you could subscribe. That would help us out so, so much. If you're listening to us on podcast, if you could go to Apple Podcast and rate and review us, that would also help us out very, very much. So thank you so much for listening to Grace for the Growth. I love you, and I will see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Grace for the Growth podcast with Courtney Leo. I hope that this conversation encouraged you and inspired you on your own growth journey and as you pursue a life full of authenticity and freedom. I want to encourage you to interact with us on social media at Grace for the Growth and at Courtney Y. Leo. Also, if you've got any ideas, way that these episodes have impacted you or encouraged you, I want to invite you to either DM us or email us at hello@graceforthegrowth.com. Until next time, I challenge you to embrace your story, welcome the messy, sit in the unknown, and live authentically. Bye-bye now.